Hello friends and welcome to the Gamer Down. This is your host, Darkhosis. And today, we're going to talk about the Elder Scrolls V. Yeah, Skyrim. You know, people have been wetting their pants about this game for, the past couple of years since it was announced, and, including myself. I mean, where to start with a masterpiece such as, the Elder Scrolls. Every one of them has been just amazing, Of course, there has been some issues, with Morrowind, but, most of those have been addressed in this new game, Skyrim. The game starts off as you're being carted to your doom, actually. You're being carted to your execution. And I don't want to trounce over too much of the dialogue. I want you to be able to hear a lot of the dialogue. So I'll be in and out of this review here. This is a first look review, I don't know everything there is to know about this game, and I'm barely even going to be scratching the surface of this game. I mean, people are still playing the last game, Oblivion, which came out like 5 years ago, due to mods and several things. The replayability of these games is off the charts. And I brought up issues, issues that were in Oblivion and Morrowind. And mainly what I'm talking about is the cloning and the use of so few voice actors. They used that one guy in Oblivion and Morrowind, actually, and the same female, and they used no differentiation between their voice at all. You could commonly come across two characters talking to each other, and it was like the same guy talking to himself, and it became a little ridiculous, but the game was so awesome. Oblivion was so awesome. The Elder Scrolls were so amazing. Even, everybody sounded the same, and everybody pretty much looked the same. The game was still just so amazing, just due to the freedom, and, they're recreating a living, breathing world, and they had to make those compromises. It seems that they've come a long way, and they've heard that the complaints from the, players like me, that, we need some variety. And you can see here in the character creation, right after your little wagon ride, you're given the choice of many different races here. And each race has its different racial traits that give it a little bit of an advantage in one way or the next. Like the Breton, they're magic users, and the Orc, he's more of a warrior type. He can go into a berserk rage and take half damage and dish out a hell of a lot of damage. And you can see that they've added quite a few new character races to Skyrim since Oblivion, and that's something that the fans have been begging for and asking for a long time. People have been modding Oblivion for years and years now. I mean, they've turned it into several different games at this point in time. I mean, it's pretty amazing what some of the modders have done with Oblivion. And they're going to be doing the same thing with Skyrim. This game is going to be modded and modded and modded for years until the next Elder Scrolls comes out. But, I have a very sneaky feeling that the next Elder Scrolls is going to be an MMO. I have a really sneaky feeling about that. I know they're doing it with Fallout, and, they're probably going to be doing it with Oblivion as well. I mean, not Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls. I can see them doing it, completely doing that. And here you can see what a variety between the races, these days. I mean, in the original Oblivion and the original Morrowind, you had very few choices, You pretty much always looked the same. Everybody looked the same. And now, you have a wide variety of choices. And, of course, you can modify your character in umpteen different ways. You can change their hair. You can even change the color of the dirt on their face if you want to go that far. And some people, they're really into the character creation, and they'll spend a whole day or so, just making their character. And, more power to you if that's what you enjoy. Hey, go for it. I like to just pretty much hit the random button and hit the road running. In addition to racial traits and just the way you look, being a different race also influences your storyline too, you know. Say you're an orc, then, you know, you might be frowned upon by the humans, and if you're a Nord, you're going to be accepted by your Nord brothers, you know, hey. And, you know, that's really something that's also awesome about the Elder Scrolls, is they take that into account, you know. And that makes the replayability of the Elder Scrolls and Skyrim and all these games just, you know, infinite, really. I mean, you can replay these games at infinitum. In this, with mods, you can just keep going and going and going with these games. It's pretty much the biggest bang for your buck you can buy for a game, really. I mean, the replayability is just, it's just endless. It's really endless. I mean, because you know, you would like to try every race and like see, you know, all the different storylines and see what happens, because it does matter in these Elder Scrolls games. I mean, every little detail they usually take into account. And that's something also is the freedom in the Elder Scrolls games. There's no other game that gives you more freedom. Now here I'm going to let you watch a little of the dialogue, because it's so amazing.
He's not on the list.
Forget the list. He goes to the block.
By your orders, Captain. I'm sorry. We'll make sure he remains returned to Valenwood. Follow the captain, prisoner.
Ulfric Stormcloak. Some here in Helgen call you a hero, but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne. You started this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos.
Allos, shut up and let's get this over.
Learn our as you wish.
Come on! I haven't got all morning. My ancestors are smiling at me, Imperials. Can you say the same?
You Imperial bastards!
Justice!
Death to the Stormcloaks!
As fearless in death as he was in life.
Next, the Wood Elf.
Here it is again. Did you hear that?
I said, next prisoner.
To the block, prisoner. Nice and easy.
What in Oblivion is that?
Sentries, what do you see?
It's in the clouds!
Dragon!
Guards, get the townspeople to safety! Hey, look out! Oh, the gods won't give us another chance! This way!
What is that thing? Could the legends be true?
Legends don't burn down villages.
There, I just wanted to give you a little taste of the action that you can expect from Skyrim. I mean, all of that just happened within the very first part of this game, you know. You watch a guy get his head cut off, and you almost get your head cut off, and then a dragon comes in and swoops in to save the day. That's how the game begins, and it gets a lot more exciting after that. And let's talk about the graphics. Oh, Jesus. I mean, next to The Witcher 2, I can't really think of a game that has such amazing graphics and just breathtaking vistas. I mean, outside of an MMO, like maybe Rift and things like that. I mean, you know, even Rift, it can't compare to these graphics. I mean, there's no comparison, you know, to an MMO really, like with Oblivion and Skyrim and all that. I mean, even since Oblivion, they've amped the graphics up considerably. You can see just how amazing these graphics are. And the characters, you want to get to know all of the characters in this game. I mean, there's all very interesting characters, you know, such as that little kid and his dog. And what's so badass about the Elder Scrolls games and Skyrim and all the other Elder Scrolls games is you're given that opportunity to get to know that little kid and to get to know that little dog and all of that. Me and that little kid played hide and seek, and yeah, you can actually do that. I mean, that is the attention to detail that I talk about when I'm talking about Bethesda and I'm talking about the Elder Scrolls. They don't miss a beat. You know, they let you get to know every character just about, and they let you play this game how you want to play this game. You can be a merciless thief, or you can be a good guy. You're given a huge variety of choices in this game. I mean, that's what I also talk about, the replayability. You can be a good guy the first time and be an ass the second time. You know, depends how you want to play, you know, and you can play it any way you want, and there's no subscription fee, so like a modern MMO, so you know, you can play it over and over again. I mean, I've known people who've played the games like Oblivion 50 times through. I know that I played about 2-3 times myself, and I know people who've played Oblivion and they haven't made it through, and they've been playing it for 5 years, according to them. So let's talk about the combat a little bit. The combat, you know, is pretty nice. You know, it has a little bit to be desired. After playing The Witcher 2 and playing some other games like even like Dead Island that uses melee combat, this is kind of like a step down in a lot of ways. The combat is identical to Oblivion, really, and they really didn't change it much. They really didn't improve on it too much. They made it a bit more intuitive, you can say that much. They did make it easier to maneuver the menus and all that good stuff, you know, that you're constantly accessing. But, wow, just look at that view there. God, isn't that beautiful? Anyway, I'll get back to this review. You can use, like, magic and your melee weapon at the same time. That is my preferred choice here. With my left hand, I can heal myself, and with my right hand, I can chop heads. Yeah, pretty badass. Or you can go full magic and just use both one hand to blast and one hand to heal, or both hands to blast. Whatever your choice is. And you can be a melee fighter and just, you know, use a two-handed sword or a sword and a shield. The options are huge, you know. I'm sure you already know a lot about the Elder Scrolls. If you don't know anything about the Elder Scrolls, oh boy, you have a lot to learn, and you're in for a treat.
Come to Norvasker and be a companion.
Well, that's taken care of. No thanks to you. Certainly not. But a true warrior would have relished the opportunity to take on a giant. That's why I'm here, with my shield brothers. An outsider, eh? Never heard of the Companions? An order of warriors. We are brothers and sisters in honor. And we show up to solve problems if the coin is good enough. Not for me to say. You'll have to talk to Kodlak Whitemane up in Jorvaskar. The old man's got a good sense for people. He can look in your eyes and tell your worth. If you go to him, good luck.
And there, I just wanted you to hear a little bit more of the amazing, amazing dialogue. I could have probably not said a word this entire 30-minute video, and you probably would have gone out and bought this game. That's how good it is. This game just sells itself. From the graphics, the dialogue, the gameplay, everything is just, you know, what every game wants to live up to, really. You know, what the Elder Scrolls accomplish is what every game would love to accomplish. Here, let's look at some of the deep skills. I mean, that's another thing to say about this game. It is so friggin' deep. You know, I'm not even scratching the surface here. You know, I'm not even barely scratching the surface of the surface. Here at the skill trees, you know, look at all of the different skill trees here, and all of the different possibilities, all the different paths you can take. Yeah, I mean, you can specialize in being a marksman. You can specialize in being a sneaky little thief. You can specialize in just being a complete tank. You can specialize in magic, you know. There's so many things you can do. I mean, the depth of this alone puts a lot of modern MMOs to shame, you know. I really do feel like the Elder Scrolls is going to be an MMO eventually. It really seems to be headed that way, which is kind of a shame, because people turn to the Elder Scrolls when they don't want to mess with MMOs. You know, this is like a sacred ground. So they might not do it, but it is something, you know, people are always told when they're playing an MMO. You know, oh, you don't like to group with people? Well, you should go play, you know, the Elder Scrolls, you know. If you don't like people, go play the Elder Scrolls. You can be alone and get a lot of the same feelings, but that's really not true. They're completely different in so many ways. But you can see the depth of the skills. I mean, you could go and make video after video just about all the different skills. But there's just so much to say about this game. I mean, look at that night sky, you know. The two moons in the sky. I remember playing Morrowind, and just like sitting out in the night sky and just watching, you know, the moons and things like that. You know, that used to be just some nerdy little thing I'd do. You know, I'd just go and sit and turn the volume up full blast and you know, hear the amazing music, because that is another thing about this game too, is the music. So here, let me show you some of like the different choices, you know, you're given. I mean, you're given a wide variety of choices. You know, you can be very nice and persuasive, or you can be a dick. And here you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You can try to bribe the guard, or you can be, you know, confrontational about him, you know, letting you in, or you can be a little wimp about it, or, you know, you can be persuasive. And I chose the persuade one because that usually seems to work out pretty good. So after we get past this nice guy here, we get to enter our first town, and you can also hire mercenaries. They'll let you hear for yourself.
Artisan, painting in strokes of blood red upon the canvas of life. But yes, I will take coin to fight at your side. After all, where is the value in creating art if there is nobody left alive to see it? If you change your mind, seek me out here. Walk always in shadows, so that you will see your foes before they see you.
So yes, you can hire that chick to fight by your side, and that's pretty awesome, isn't it? You know, I mean, you can hire companions. And if you have a very challenging quest, then you can hire as many mercenaries as you need. And you can see, like, you know, forging the books, you know, that's just the little attention to details that this game does, you know. Skyrim has met the hype and met the expectations everybody has, you know, been saying out there. You know, the hype for this game has been just way out. Here, I want you to watch some more of the dialogue, because it's just so good.
Really? You're certainly forthright about your criminal past. But it's none of my concern who the Imperials want to execute, especially now. What I want to know is, what exactly happened at Helgen? I should have guessed Ulfric would be mixed up in this. What do you say now, Proventus? Shall we continue to trust in the strength of our walls against the dragon?
My lord, we should send troops to Riverwood at once. It's in the most immediate danger. If that dragon is lurking in the mountains...
That is a provocation. He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not...
Enough! I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and slaughters my people. Irileth, send a detachment to Riverwood at once.
Yes, my Jarl.
If you'll excuse me, I'll return to my duties.
That would be best. Well done. You sought me out on your own initiative. You've done Whiterun a service, and I won't forget it. Here, take this as a small token of my esteem. There is another thing you could do for me. Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps. Come, let's go find Farengar, my court wizard.
Now, aren't the dialogue and scenes just completely amazing? Now, hear this Farengar guy. I'm going to let him explain a few of the other things you can do in this game, such as enchanting.
An enchantment. Take an enchanted weapon or piece of armor, then use the arcane enchanter to learn its secrets. The item is destroyed in the process, so be wary. Once you know an enchantment, you'll need a filled soul gem and something to enchant. You'll use the arcane enchanter for that too. Of course, I have everything you need for sale if you have the coin. I'm not surprised you've never heard of it. Even I used to think it was just a myth. But not anymore. The Dragon War was a real event, although only the barest glimmer of the actual events has come down to us. Far back in the Mythic era, the dragons were worshipped as gods in Skyrim. Many of the monumental ruins that still dot the landscape were in fact built as temples to the dragons. The details are lost, but at some point, the Nords rebelled. After a long and terrible war, the Nords overthrew their dragon overlords. Oh no, many were killed, of course, but many survived into historical times. Why, this very palace was built by one of Balgruf's ancestors to hold a captive dragon. Hence its name, Dragon's Reach.
Well, he was full of all kinds of great information that I thought you might want to hear. You know, I thought you want to hear more about the dragons, because the dragons are a big part of this whole Skyrim story. Here, what we're looking at is the world map. Yes, this is the world map. It's like the best Google Earth view you've ever seen. Yeah, they've did an amazing job on the map. You know, it's a living map, you know, with clouds and everything. It's like an aerial view. And you can fast travel as well in this game. So once you've discovered an area, you don't have to trek all the way across the map on foot, unless you want to. Because sometimes doing that, you will discover quite a few things you didn't know existed. You know, that's one of the cool things about this game, too. You can explore and explore and explore and find all kinds of neat, you know, dungeons and just, you know, creatures. But yes, and here's like the local map. And in addition to the world map, you also have a local map. They do a great job with the maps. And, you know, finding where you need to go in your questing is still a little bit difficult, but it's not too bad. It's not too awful bad now. You know, you can mark the map up with a tracking, you know, track the map, you know, put a little track mark for yourself, and you can follow that, and that helps quite a bit. Anyway, they did an amazing job on the map. Now, I had touched on the crafting a bit. They have really gone the extra mile with the crafting. You can craft all kinds of items and all kinds of awesome gear. You can use the grindstone, like I'm doing right here, to improve your weapon a little bit, you know, put an edge on it. Yeah, they've really gone the extra mile with the crafting. You know, if you gather super rare ingredients, and you can make like some super badass something eventually. You'll get recipes as you move along. As that Farengar guy was talking about, such as enchanting. You can take an enchanted weapon and disassemble it, and it destroys that weapon, but you get to learn the enchant as you go, you know, from destroying that weapon. But yes, this is another very deep part of this game. Like I said, this is a first look review, and I could go on and on about just one aspect of this game for hours. You know, this review's 30 minutes long, but I'm not really even doing it justice how deep this game is. Now I'm just going to shut up a while and let you watch the combat some, so you can just get a real feel for what this game is about. Now, wasn't that amazing? Yeah, here we are at the very first dungeon, the Barrow here. And the Elder Scrolls is full of dungeons. There's dungeons scattered all across this huge land. And that's what I was talking about when, when the map and the fast travel. You might not want to fast travel all the time, because almost every time you adventure out on foot, you're going to find something cool. You're going to find something new. And the dungeons, they're so well done as well. They're full of puzzles. They're full of traps. They're full of bad guys. So, yes, you're in for a treat. And just like all the other Elder Scrolls games, there's lock-picking involved. And, depending on what path you choose, you might want to be a sneaky thief. And so you might be investing all your points into sneaking and all that good stuff. But yes, the Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls, what more can I say about it? I've been bragging on it for the past 20-something minutes, approaching 30 minutes. It's an amazing game. And you're going to really do yourself a disservice by not going and buying Skyrim. Yeah, it's everything the hype has said, and then some. Like I said, they've improved so much on the previous Elder Scrolls game. They've taken the hint, they've taken the fans' advice, they've added much more voice actors and much more variety for the characters. So, wow. Yes, and that's not even mentioning the mods. So I'm going to leave you here with a little more of my dungeon experience, and when I solve a little puzzle. Yeah, I actually solved this puzzle pretty easily. Amazingly. Usually they take me a really long time. And I'm really not a big fan of puzzles, but oh well. It wasn't hard. This has been Darkhosis with a look at Skyrim. And like I said, I have not gave this game justice. You know, bragging on it for 30 minutes. I've really not even gave it the justice it deserves. People wait years for these games, for the Elder Scrolls to come out and the next Elder Scrolls. They're legendary. Don't miss out on the Elder Scrolls. And if you haven't played the older Elder Scrolls games, then where have you been? What have you been doing? I know you've played them by now. You need to go get those as well and check those out too, because they're still as good today as they were back then. Alright, remember to subscribe and thumbs up videos. And I'm going to leave you with this puzzle here. Take care of yourself.